Hey there, I'm Frank Mitchell. On this channel, it's all about helping you understand your car and keeping it running the way it should. Whether it's routine maintenance or solving those tricky problems, I've got you covered. If you find this useful, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to watch till the end. You might learn something that saves you time and money. All right, let's get
The
started.
Renault Captur and Ford Puma are the access to the SUV range of both brands. The Captur, which is manufactured in the plant that the brand has in Valladolid, has a wide range of mechanics with several versions. With ECO label and a plug-in hybrid variant that sports the DGT's zero label. The Puma's catalog is shorter and is limited to 2 engines with light hybridization system that have the ECO label, plus a sporty version of 200 horsepower with C label. Renault Captur Ford Puma. As we will see throughout this comparison, Renault Captur versus Ford Puma, the two models are very similar in terms of exterior dimensions, available space, trunk capacity, and equipment possibilities. The biggest difference, in addition to the aforementioned engine offer, will be found in the dynamic response, as the small Ford SUV has a sportier character, while the Captur prioritizes comfort. Price. The Renault Captur is available from €20,490, while the access price of the Ford Puma stands at €24,638. If we compare more or less equivalent versions by power and type of label, the Captur remains a more affordable and better equipped model. Both models are available at CarWow with interesting discounts. Enter our configurator and check real offers from the dealers closest to you. Exterior dimensions. Renault Captur is 4.23 m long, 1.80 m wide and 1.58 m high. Its wheelbase is 2.64 meters. The Ford Puma measures 4.21 m in length, 1.81 m in width and 1.53 m in height. It has a wheelbase of 2.59 meters. The Captur and Puma are virtually identical in length and width, the differences being in height and wheelbase. The Captur is 5 cm taller and also has 5 cm more wheelbase, which a priori should provide more space in the rear seats. As for the turning radius, the Puma needs 80 cm less to make a U-turn, something that is appreciated when maneuvering in garages or very narrow streets. Measurements: Renault Captur Ford Puma length 4.23 meters, 4.21 meters, height 1.58 meters, 1.53 meters, width 1.80 meters. 1.81 meters. Distance between axles 2.64 meters, 2.59 meters. Weight 1,257 kilograms, 1,639 kilograms, 1,280 kilograms, 1,358 kilograms. Minimum trunk 265 liters, 401 liters. Maximum trunk 1275 liters, 1216 liters. Renault Captur Ford Puma. Interior dimensions and habitability. In the first row of seats there are no significant differences in length, but there are significant differences in height. The Puma offers 7 centimeters more headroom. In the second row of seats, the Captur is better than the Puma in all dimensions, although not as much as one might expect. It offers 1 centimeter more legroom, 2 centimeters in height and 6 centimeters more in width. Although the Captur is better in all measurements, the differences are so small that they are not a decisive factor. In any case, the rear seats are adequate for 2 passengers, 3 will not travel comfortably as in all cars in the category. Of course, the Captur offers 2 very practical details: tilt adjustment of the backrest and longitudinal displacement of the bench up to 16 centimeters. Renault Captur interior. Ford Puma interior trunk. The trunk of the Ford Puma covers 401 liters in all versions except the Sporty ST, which does not have light hybridization system. Offers a larger trunk of 456 liters. The Puma's trunk is one of the most practical in the category because the tray that separates the cargo space from the double bottom can be placed in an almost vertical position to give access to a very deep hole that can carry objects up to 115 centimeters high. This recess is lined with a plastic material and has a drain, so it can be washed with a hose. Renault Captur trunk. Ford Puma trunk. The trunk of the Renault Captur varies depending on the version chosen. With gasoline, LPG, or light hybrid engines, it covers 422 liters, a capacity that is reduced to 326 liters in the hybrid variant and 265 L in the plug-in hybrid. Capacity can also vary depending on how far forward the bench seat is placed. In its most forward position, which reduces space for second-row passengers, capacity increases to 536, 440 and 379 liters. In terms of dimensions, the Captur's trunk is 12 centimeters deeper and 2 centimeters wider. In height, the Puma is 6 centimeters higher than the Captur, excluding the additional space under the double bottom. Engine and performance. The mechanical offer Ford Puma has been changing since its launch. Thus, gasoline and diesel versions have disappeared, leaving the offer consists of 3-cylinder EcoBoost gasoline engines with light hybridization system as standard. The versions that concentrate most of the sales have 1.0-liter displacement and 125 or 155 horsepower and can be associated with a manual gearbox or a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. At the top of the range is the 1.5-liter 200 HP Puma Street, which also has specific chassis adjustments. The Renault Captur engine offer is much wider. In the access to the range, we have a gasoline engine 1.0 TCE 90 horsepower also offered with LPG. Above, there would be the 140 horsepower micro hybrid, the 145 horsepower conventional hybrid and the 160 horsepower plug-in hybrid. The gasoline and LPG versions are only available with a manual transmission, while the micro hybrid can be optionally combined with an automatic gearbox. The hybrid and plug-in hybrid variants are always associated with an automatic transmission. Both Captur and Puma are not available with diesel engines or an all-wheel drive system. Renault Captur engine range gasoline 1.0 TCE 90 horsepower, see label LPG 1.0 TCE 100 horsepower, ECO label MHEV 1.3 TCE 140 horsepower, ECO. Label 145 horsepower HEV E-Tech hybrid, ECO label 160 horsepower PHEV E-Tech plug-in hybrid, 0 label Ford Puma engine range MHEV 1.0 EcoBoost. 125 horsepower MHEV, ECO label MHEV 1.0 EcoBoost 155 horsepower MHEV, ECO label gasoline ST 1.5 EcoBoost 200, HP Street 1.5 EcoBoost, C label consumption. The Ford Puma has an average fuel consumption of 5.4 L/100 km in the 125 horsepower variant and 5.5 L/100 km in the 155 horsepower variant. With the automatic transmission and higher trims, consumption goes up a few tenths. In the Sporty ST version with 200 horsepower engine, consumption rises significantly to 6.5 L/100 km. Renault Captur Ford Puma The Captur with 90 horsepower gasoline engine and the 140 horsepower micro hybrid are rated at 5.7 L/100 km. Like the Puma, the versions with automatic transmission and higher trims register 1 2/10 of a second more consumption. In any case, the consumption of these versions, which would be by type of mechanics the most similar to the Puma, spend more, although the difference is very little. The Captur E-Tech hybrid is more efficient than any Puma, with a homologated consumption of 4.7 L/100 km, which is almost 1 liter difference. In addition, the Captur with LPG system can mean significant savings, as the price of gas is significantly lower than that of gasoline. Equipment. The Ford Puma is available with 3 finishes: Titanium, ST Line, and ST Line X. The equipment of the Access version, the so-called Titanium, is not very abundant and are missing some elements more or less common. Today as alloy wheels, climate control, rear-view camera, rain sensor, and front parking sensors. It does include as standard the 8-inch multimedia system with integrated navigator and headlights with LED technology for all its functions. The ST Line trim, which is the one that concentrates most of the sales, is focused on offering a sportier-looking design, but provides little in terms of equipment. the highlights being the 17-inch alloy wheels, the 12.3 digital instrument panel, and the sports suspension and seats. In the ST Line X finish, the top of the range, some elements such as 18-inch wheels, climate control, or rain sensor are added, but some elements such as the rear view camera or adaptive cruise control are still missing, for which you have to resort to the list of options. The Renault Captur is available with the following finishes: Equilibre, Evolution, Techno, Techno Fast Track, and Engineered. The access finish to the range is scarce and, unlike the Puma, does not include the multimedia system with the larger screen and integrated browser, something that is reserved for the highest finishes in the range. It does include LED headlights. Renault Captur Ford Puma, however, as we move up the list of finishes, the standard equipment of the Captur is more generous than that of the Puma. The intermediate Techno finish, for example, includes as standard, among other things, parking sensors and rear view camera, climate control, keyless entry and start, and rain sensor. Overall, the Renault Captur equipment is more complete and, as we shall see below, more economical. It is not easy to choose between the Renault Captur and the Ford Puma, but after this analysis it seems right to point out that the French model has several advantages. The first is price. The Captur is in any of its versions, except the plug-in hybrid, a more economical model and, in general, comes better equipped. The second advantage is the space and practicality of the rear seats. The third, the mechanical range available, which is much wider. The Ford Puma, meanwhile, is ahead of the Captur in the trunk, not for capacity, which is more or less the same, but for the practicality it offers. In addition, it is a sportier car, although this will only be an advantage for those who attach importance to this aspect. In conclusion, both the Renault Captur and Ford Puma offer unique strengths that cater to different preferences in the compact SUV market. The Captur impresses with its stylish design, spacious interior, and advanced technology features, making it a great choice for those prioritizing comfort and connectivity. On the other hand, the Puma stands out with its sporty performance, innovative storage solutions, and engaging driving dynamics, appealing to those who seek a more dynamic driving experience. Ultimately, the decision between these two models will depend on your individual needs and lifestyle. Thank you for watching, and we hope this comparison has helped you in your search for the perfect compact SUV.